Hey there.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, cool. I had to upload the app, so I wasn't sure if it was going to work on here.
Yeah, I know it's the app is kind of weird. Like it sort of sends everyone on a detour, and I'm glad it worked for you though.
Cool. I'm going to go shut up here, and then I'll be right back. 1 second.
Okay.
Otherwise, you'll hear my dog barking.
Yeah.
I'm going in.
You're going in.
Going in.
Hi, bye.
Allie says hi.
Hi, Allie.
Hi, Sasha.
And Mom
Sometime
too.
I'll have to talk to Allie about birthright.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, not tonight. I mean, we have so little time.
Yeah,
but another time.
Yeah, I'm shutting up. We could do that on a longer one.
Yeah, yeah. Josh said he'd be here in 5 minutes. So
Okay, cool.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know if you saw my message that I picked All Colors Sam as my Son of Snake song for tonight,
Okay.
and 11th, it's hard to say, right? 11th month,
Yeah,
hour, minute for the other one. Yeah. And
that's
I was
cool.
born in the 11th month, so that's part of the reason I picked that.
Awesome. I'm trying to get. I don't know why this is a different setting. It's like it's got that weird thing going on where it follows me around.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Like, I just changed my camera setting from standard to high. Like, standard, I don't have great internet, and it seems like it's more stable. But then it was, yeah, acting kind of weird, so I just switched it to high. It was kind
Let
of
me.
laggy or something. Yeah, I don't
I'm
know.
gonna I'm gonna back out for 1 minute and see if I
Yeah,
could do it in the part before. 1 second.
yeah, okay.
I don't know, but I found out I can blur blur my background. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look into that because this is like I said, I'm using the app today.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, so I recently bought the, like the host software, but back when I was just a guest, the app was sometimes kind of weird. And so
Yeah,
like sometimes I had to go in, just through the internet, like not through the app, and then it worked
yeah,
better.
but it wouldn't let me do it because it says there's no iOS support on the
Mhm.
through the internet. So
Right. I mean, I feel like I found some way around that, but I don't remember how anymore.
yeah, this is fine.
uh
It'll just follow me a
anyway.
little bit, but I'll
Yeah.
be doing this.
Right, right. Yeah, no, I don't know, you probably didn't see, but like I just had my first drum lesson a few days ago, and so like I came home and I was just I made a little video of like what I learned in my first lesson, and that's what it was doing. It was so annoying. It was like,
Yeah, following you. Yeah,
yes, I
like
was
that
like,
weird.
but it wasn't as noticeable when I'm recording, but when I looked at it later, and yeah, and I had done like 10 versions of that stupid video, and I was just like, okay, yeah, it's good. We
Yeah,
can
that's
live with
cool.
that.
How's the drumming going?
Oh my gosh. I've only had one lesson, but I mean, I feel like it's a really good fit for me because I just always like I love every instrument, but I guess I notice the drums more than some people,
Hmm.
even more than like the melody or whatever. Like the drums are what hooks me into a song. So like
Yeah,
my whole life I've just always been kind of like with my body,
yeah,
kind of like us differently wired people, kind of
yeah,
doing the drum beat, like with whatever, my fingers on a desk or my foot
yeah.
or, my whole body if I'm dancing. Like, so
That's
I think
cool.
it's, yeah, I think it's going to be a really good fit. But, then there's like the learning curve of just getting the, fine tuning my skills really. Like, but I
Hmm.
think it's, yeah, I don't want to jinx myself, but I feel like it's going to come fairly easily. Like, I don't know if the instructor is just a nice guy, and he probably is, but he was saying nice things. He kind
Yeah.
of, I think he thought he was going to have to start me off like something really basic. And then he was like, oh, you know music and you've like
Yeah,
played other instruments and
that's cool.
and
That's
like
cool.
I can follow his beat. Like, he would do things, then have me like join in and like try to get it exactly like the
Yeah,
same, tempo and whatever.
that's
It's
cool.
harder than it looks. I mean, have you ever played drums?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, if if I had a set here, I have to program all of mine
Yeah.
for my recordings, but they actually sound pretty real nowadays.
I
Like
know.
not like when Big Black was doing it, you could tell it
Yeah,
was like a drum
right.
machine.
Roland,
It
yeah.
was just kind of but now
Yeah.
you could really articulate everything. And I'm always, every band I've ever been in, I've always wanted everyone to like really accent the parts.
Hmm.
So now I'm able to do that with this. So we'll see how it goes if I find a drummer up here that can do it. So I'm pretty
Right,
picky
right,
about
right.
that. So
Yeah,
good
yeah.
job.
I'm gonna try to get like a little drum kit, like just the bare minimum.
Yeah,
So
they have those
I'll keep
little
you posted.
cocktail kits or whatever they are. They're pretty cheap.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll try to get it used and, just kind of
yeah,
put it in the corner of my bedroom and
that's
I'm
cool.
sure eventually expand, that's the
Yeah,
dream. But like it's a really small house, so just
yeah.
with space considerations.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Hello, folks.
What's
Are
that?
you guys live?
I mean, we're live, but like I was gonna cut the stuff, whatever. Just us
Are
figuring
we live
out like
streaming, or I guess we are.
Are we on right
we
now?
well we
Uh-oh.
It
we
says
are, but like
live.
I didn't publicize it because like we're still figuring out like what the hell we're doing. So that's my compromise. Like we live stream, but like I don't tell anyone we're live streaming and like,
Well, I think Allie and Mom might be out there watching. So
oh, that'd be fun.
and
Okay. Like
Lulu.
yeah, yeah. No, it would be good to have like a couple people just so we know if it looks okay on their end.
Yeah.
So yeah. Gosh. Uh well, what do you think, Josh? I mean, it's like, so anybody who subscribed to our channel on YouTube would have gotten a notification. Nobody else is going to know. So our 78 subscribers, like, I mean, I would be surprised since I haven't.
Like I have like what 220 something followers, and when I live stream a video, it's usually like at the most 10.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, what the hell? Just hit the ground running. People can always watch it later.
Yeah, and a lot of people
Right.
like doing that anyway because
Yeah, right,
people
right.
have social anxiety and they even feel it in chat. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's
So-
very true. Yeah,
so.
yeah. Okay, well then we'll just go ahead and start, and like maybe before we share the recording, we can cut out the superfluous stuff at the beginning. But anyhow, so we are Pretty Vacant Punk Hour here, Sasha and my co-host Josh, and our guest is Chris Strong, yay, from Son of Snake and Slugfeeder and lots of other cool bands previously. Those are the only
Yep.
two currently, right?
Only two currently. We'll see. There seems to be a little bit of a scene kicking off here in Coos Bay.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a metal scene and a lot of younger people.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to little pick and choose more who I jam with nowadays.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want someone that's going to be all junked out. Before I never cared about all that, but
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
so I just gotta. I'm just doing what I want to do right now, and that's just writing a whole bunch.
It seems to be agreeing with you,
Yeah,
it's like it's incredible, like the
thank you.
quantity and the quality both, right? So I
Thank
don't
you.
have
And
to.
I feel like it gets a little better each album, and I'm starting to get the hang of it, and I'll do it all on my iPad.
Yeah.
I don't have a studio. I have a couple tiny studio speakers and a 2 input interface, and that's it. I have my amps here and my guitars and everything, but everything else is just
It's put together really well.
It
Like,
is.
the end product is. I'm not like thinking this sounds like something slapped together on their laptop. It sounds good.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No, I really enjoy it. And you mentioned that the local scene is kind of leans more towards metal. I did notice on the Son of Snake. I mean, it's something that there's a lot. I mean, there's obviously the underlying punk element, but
Mhm.
there's also maybe I'm just hearing it, but I hear a lot of like crossover thrash kind of influence.
Well, definitely, you know, because
like
that's when I got into the scene, was during that era. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, like
84,
DRI, Cryptic
85.
Slaughter, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's, you know, Crumb Suckers and all that stuff. And
Yeah, yeah, I
you
hear
know,
that.
then I got into like, you know, a lot of the West Coast bands with at the time were doing their heaviest stuff. Like Poison Idea back then was, I think, was like War All the Time, I think was the name of that. And they were playing heavier. We had the Accused in Seattle, and you know, a lot of the bands were doing that. I kind of had to go back a little bit from there
Mm-hmm.
and find
Pacific
all like
Northwest is great for that.
you know, like the earlier like hardcore bands in SoCal and East Coast and stuff. So yeah, I definitely I like metal, but I'm just an old punk rocker.
Yeah.
But you know, I do when I play my faster stuff, it probably has that heavier sound a little bit, you know, like a little bit of maybe a Motorhead vibe to it, and
Yeah.
you know,
Which I like. I like that a lot because, you know, you couldn't escape that back in the like early and mid 80s.
yeah,
You
they
know.
were kind of like the first crossover band, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That was part of my like a side dish in my musical menu back then. But I mean, one of the things I like about both of your bands, um, it's like sonically, it's not doesn't sound like exactly from that sort of late 70s, early 80s punk, before punk really became like this sort of narrow definition of punk. But big picture wise, that's exactly what it always reminds me of. You know, like I feel like if I didn't know for sure, you know, what time period you were from, like someone could probably convince me fairly easily, you know, that it was like an early 80s California, like Features, you know, 45 Grave, like around that whole scene type band.
I definitely love that era.
Yeah.
And I like I was saying to you guys earlier, I feel like with this band, because like most of my bands have been pretty much classic hardcore bands. I was in like one sort of Sabbathy band in the late 90s, and in the early 90s I was in one sort of, I don't know, like indie rock grunge kind of thing or something like that. I don't even know what it was. It was some kind of like that. But most of them have been hardcore punk bands from that era, not like the new hardcore stuff.
Yeah, right.
So like the first couple Son of Snake albums I felt were like more leaning more towards like poppy and pop punk, and not pop punk, but you know, like that
As melodic elements
has
to it,
more
which
melodic.
isn't
You know, I was
necessarily a
harmonizing
bad
more.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I was harmonizing more, and it had more of a rock and roll vibe, a lot of it, you know, because I really like bands like the Helicopters and Lucifer and Turbo Negro and bands like that. But
yeah.
So like those first 2 or 3 albums were kind of like that, and I feel like the last 2 I've kind of been enjoying, kind of going back to my roots a little bit, but with a more technical aspect, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah.
I try to kind of showcase the bass playing in most of the albums, but I've been trying to really do that more, at least stick it out in the recording. So like what's that?
I was just gonna say, I hear a lot of different things going on. Like I mean, it's obviously its own animal, but I heard like, I was trying to like place like this part sounds like this, or this part sounds like this. So I heard some, I definitely heard some Husker Du. I don't know if you're,
absolutely.
And I heard a little bit of Gang of Four. Some guitar parts sounded actually kind of like Joey Santiago from the Pixies. I was down with that, and there was one example that I think Sasha would appreciate. There's this band that not a lot of people have heard of from the early mid 80s. They're from Hagerstown, Maryland, called The Left. And I actually was like, it almost kind of sounds like them. But yeah, if you have the chance, they're not on Spotify, but you can find a good comp of their stuff on YouTube. It's from like 2006 called Jesus Loves the Left. And it's good. It's good.
I'll have to check them out. Yeah, like the Slugfeeder stuff is definitely its own deal, and that was on purpose, you know. And that's with my friend Glenn on drums, and he runs the record label that I'm on, Anonymous Collective, out of Colorado Springs. I met him in Santa Rosa back in the day. He was in bands down there, in the 90s. So he just basically sends me a drum track just as is,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't do anything with it except for right over the top of it, which is kind of cool. It's kind of give me a little bit of a challenge. It
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
matter.
yeah,
I can't say do this time. I want this bridge to be
yeah,
here or the chorus to go. I just have to do it. So it's
yeah.
like,
Right, right.
so
I
it's
mean,
been
so
fun. It's been fun because I haven't really jammed with a live person for a while. I've been doing this, post COVID kind of thing I'm doing or whatever, and so it's kind of cool doing that. And he has definitely a wide range of musical tastes.
mm-hmm.
I'd say more so than I do. Um, but I really like a lot of like those post bands you were talking about, and Gang of Four, and um, Magazine. I really like Magazine, from
Yeah,
England,
yeah.
and
Great.
so yeah, so
Do
like
you know
they're,
Tex-Mex?
no,
Isn't that what it's called? Sex
Tex-Mex.
Tex.
They're
The
a newer band. They're out of California, not California, Texas. I can't remember. Like I think San Antonio, maybe. I
uh,
don't know, but they're good. They're really good. They're worth checking
I
out.
mean, it reminds me a little bit of that. It's kind of that same flashing back to early
yeah,
80s.
hmm
Like I don't know if there's a better term than new wave, but in a way, slightly new wave
it's
influenced
kind of
punk.
it's definitely because there's that synth thing he has that he
Yeah,
adds on top
exactly.
of his drums, and I
Yeah.
just do all the stringed instruments and vocals, and
So
it's got a
you
little
know,
techno vibe kind of, and
you should consider doing like a little mini course in how you do this thing that you do when you make this music. Like I think people would love that. I would take
yeah,
it.
if I can find the
You just make
time
it
to
sound so
do it,
easy. You're like, yeah, I just I do it on my
it's
laptop and I've got
it's
my
it's
instruments and
it's really just cerebral, and I don't really overthink it.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I'm
That's
just
probably good.
lucky. I'm just lucky that I've been playing a really long time.
Yeah.
Since the mid '80s. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, and a lot of that was in bands, even in high school. And so I've kind of honed my skills when it comes to stringed instruments.
Yeah, right.
And then I didn't always sing back then. I usually had singers for my band, but then in the early 2000s I started singing with Snag.
Uh-huh.
So like the songs that I wrote, I would sing, and the other guitar player would sing his songs. So we switched off, and we also switched off within songs, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
kind of started doing more singing. Except I did backups all the time when I was young.
Right, right, right. So you kind of ramped up to it slowly. By the time you got to the lead
Yeah,
singing stage, you'd had plenty of like time in the
definitely,
trenches.
definitely. So
Yeah, yeah.
and then I just I felt it was important after what I went through, kind of, because at the same time I started doing this, I was also kind of learning how to speak Lakota and the drums and the songs, and kind of finding out my roots, not only my uh, you know Lakota roots, Dakota roots, but also the Anishinaabe side of it. So it was important to kind of put that sort of overall vibe.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, I still have, like I was telling you before, I still have my snotty songs every now and again where I'm upset
Yeah.
about something in the world or whatever.
That's
But
a truck.
Right, right. So
you know,
actually, that could be an
That was,
amazing hook if you ever decide to do the course, because I think so many people are going through that kind of thing, like
yeah,
discovering
well,
things about their
especially
roots, or even if it's not like a
mhm,
biological connection, but some other thing that is just really
just
like life altering. And they're like, I
well,
really want to write a few
what?
songs about this thing,
Yeah, well, we're in
like,
uncharted territories when it comes to the world and everything
yeah,
that's happening, and especially when we're all just a bunch of old punks. At
yep,
least my group of friends, and most of my friends are kind of still where I was just 5, 6, 7 years ago, where I couldn't think about it too much because it would make me angry, and so I just drink through it. So
yeah,
well, that's really neat because like when I opened this up and I was checking it out, I noticed you have like a kind of forward, like introducing
yeah,
the album about
that's a Son of
what is
Snake
it?
album.
What's the line? Things will not improve until we accept our differences and realize we're all related. And it seems like something that should be obvious, but but
It
isn't
seems
to a lot of
it seems
people. And
almost yeah. It seems almost cliche, but it's like so simple that way.
it's come full circle to something that people need to be reminded of. Like, everybody in the world right now is getting in political arguments, but
Yeah.
there's people who get so entrenched in it that
Hmm.
like, oh, these other people,
Yeah.
it's like, well, what are you going to do about them? You got to herd them into camps. I mean, like, we have to live with each
Hmm.
other at the end of the day.
Right.
So we have to come up with practical solutions and figure out how to do that. It's
because it's like here in daily life and life, we're kind of taught to be different. We're separate from them. We're better than them. They're worse than us. Doesn't matter what side it is. It's all sides are like that. Obviously, some sides are worse than others, but when it comes to hatred and racism and all this stuff, and homophobia and sexism, but the hatred goes on both ways. I have a lot of very left-wing people that are full of hate that I know.
Yeah.
that's not gonna solve any problems.
No,
Like,
no,
we're
and
not.
it's almost like sometimes society needs to be slapped awake, whether that be through something traumatic or whatever. But sometimes that happens. Societies rise and fall, and if you're
Yeah.
not working together on it, it's going to be even worse if something big happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have, like, I've noticed, like, in the lyrics and your introduction, you kind of have like your own, like, kind of outlook and philosophy, like, underpinning like the whole
Mhm.
theme of the album, and that's pretty neat. Like, it's
Yeah.
not often that you come across a band that does that. I
No,
also really dig the artwork a lot. I mean,
thank you.
how did you did all this yourself, right?
Well, the picture is of, and if it's kind of calling about the fear mongering in a time of need.
Yeah. This one.
Yeah, on the back, on the other side, the front,
Oh, sorry.
the face,
There.
yeah, him, and he's also on the front too. If you like open that up,
Okay.
but it's more hidden. The other side, the dark side.
So I can't actually. Yeah.
He's in there.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
he's in there. He's that.
Yeah, I
He's
see
that.
it.
He's a famous pastor that is. It's kind of a scary dude, but so I picked him because he just, in that one particular picture I've seen of him, it just kind of, he gives off this real weird vibe to me.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like I thought it would be good to it just kind of fit with my title, the way it looks.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did is, and that all those lines that are in it, I basically took that in Adobe Express, like I was talking to you about earlier, and
Yeah.
I layered it all, and messed with the saturation and basically graphic arts, basically.
Yeah. So
And
you're
the
like
lines,
so multi-talented.
thank you. The lines are a microscopic image of connective tissue.
Yeah, yeah.
That we all have to make us human.
So it's like,
it's sort of like, it's a play on. It's like
connection.
We are all connected. We're not separate.
Yeah, yeah.
No one's better. No one's worse. Doesn't matter what your religion is, your creed, your sexuality, anything. We all have a job to do, and we all have purpose. All of us.
Yeah.
And when we start trying to pull ourselves away or make ourselves more superior than the other one, then you get problems. And it's what the world is going through right now. There's like this rise in fascism and
yeah, I mean, the people who still have whatever power and money they have just want to hold on to it. So
it all comes down to money and power, and it's fueled by fear.
Yeah.
All the hatred and fear, because people like to be scared of something. Like, whoa, these people are gonna come after my stuff or whatever it is.
And it's just easier to engage in black and white thinking than shades of gray,
Exactly.
No, that's. Did Josh accidentally get kicked out or something?
Yeah,
Sorry,
like
Josh.
There he is.
What happened? I think your internet must have like faded out for a second because it bumped you off stage, but I would just put you back in. Sorry about that.
I mean, I've been watching it the whole time, so but I don't know.
Yeah.
I was saying, the from an aesthetic point of view, I mean, it's really cool. It looks kind of like has a kind of Cronenberg look to the art, like
It
that
definitely
body
has
horror.
this kind of like
You know,
creepy
it's
look to it.
unsettling.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
if
And
the
it's on
guy in that
purpose.
picture is who I think it is, that one pastor, I
Yes,
was
that's who it is.
yeah, Pastor Greg Locke. I saw some video today, and it was him doing exorcisms. You know, you had these people he trotted out on stage, and they were like, they're doing their best to like, act like Linda Blair or whatever. And he came across as the creepiest person on that stage. And
Yeah, man.
the top comment
Let's
was,
exercise the pastor, right?
yeah,
Very much
the
so.
top comment was like, I wouldn't be surprised if he's the one
Right.
who's like possessed by the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
you know, it seems like that kind of stuff likes to hide in like false goodness.
Guy's rich as holy shit.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
He's got
So,
more money than just about anybody.
so you know, I did that on purpose to give it that because you know, fear mongering at the time of need kind of has this.
Yeah. What
Right,
about
right. There's like
what about the snake? Like the
tension
snake
between
design. That's a really cool logo.
the power structure and what did you say,
That,
Josh? The
Oh, the
snake?
snake.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
really dig that too. It
thank
really.
you. That's you know, I've always wanted to have like a logo that I
Yeah.
can use all the time for and I've never had one except for my first gigging band, Backstab had one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that I drew something at home. You know, I can draw, but I don't have a lot of time to draw.
Yeah.
You know, I went to school for graphic arts and everything like that, but like if I take my time, I can do it. But then it sort of takes away from my music and what I'm doing here at home and everything. So I kind of quick drew this logo, and we have a friend that is from SoCal and knows someone that you know. The husband is a tattoo artist. So I just hit him up and I sent him my thing, and within like a day or two, he sent that to me.
Nice.
Wow.
$100 or something for it, and
Nice.
it's
Yeah.
been on
Yeah.
every album since somewhere, you know.
I like that. Okay, so it kind of reminds me of like, the mound builders, like the Native Americans, and then when you see it from above, like that's what I think of when I see it.
That's
It
cool.
looks like one of those shapes from above.
You know, I think I've told you before, but the name Son of Snake has a family meaning for me. Like
remind me of it, because if you did tell me, I probably forgot.
One of my ancestors named Wabasha, and the town Wabasha, Minnesota, is named after like his son, I think. He was a chief, Mede Wakanton chief, Dakota Sioux, in Minnesota, and he was known as his Indian name was Ate Tonka Wamdushka, which means great father of snakes.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a name sort of given to him by the Chippewa, who was always kind of at war with each other, but they had actually come together around that same time. And the reason why, because they called the greater Buffalo Nation or Sioux Nation, Dakota, Dakota, they called them snakes in the grass. Because they would sneak up on you in the grass. So, and he kind of, I think, embraced that name and became, that was his name, one of his names. So I decided to kind of incorporate that in the name of the project I'm doing.
Yeah. So
that's what that means. And then you also have like how a lot of religions sort of demonize the snake.
Mm-hmm.
But really, in a lot of like the Gnostic teachings and things, the snake was a form of knowledge, like ancient, sacred knowledge, the holder of the snake. So kind of has that meaning too,
Yeah, no, that's very cool. Yeah, and I was going to say, like, just really quickly, the art side of things also just reminds me of the X-Files in a way. There's just something kind of like a little bit creepy and a little bit otherworldly about it, right?
Yeah.
Like you see that connective tissue that could almost be like when, some kind of like alien thing, like it doesn't look human at a glance. So
that's what I was going for because of the title I came up with. And I was like, I don't want it to be all butterflies and
right
rainbows all the time, because I still do have that I like horror movies and I like sci-fi and
Yeah. It seems that way
and
for sure.
and then so like the next album I have, which I've already have mostly recorded, it's going to be 30 songs, and it's going to be called "When the Night Comes Alive," the album.
Oh, wow.
And that one I have an artist that I met on Instagram drawing the artwork for it right now.
Uh-huh.
He does. It's called. His name is on there, Sesquat. And he does a lot of like etching, like on dark background with light etching on
Yeah,
top.
yeah.
So it's just going to be black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And he does a lot of like Sasquatch paintings and weird stuff. And like, so I have him incorporating some of that stuff into this next.
Oh,
He's drawn
wow.
special for me. So that I'm excited about that one. And that's going to be 30 songs.
Awesome. Yeah, that's like, it's like the whole package, right? It's like there are so many aspects to your music beyond the music. You know?
Thank you. Yeah, well, I don't have a bandmate to tell me that's dumb.
Well,
before they go, that's kind of weird, man. I don't know. Now I'm like, I could be as weird as I want. And
yeah. That should be a song.
well,
well,
I mean,
I have a song called "Weird is Beautiful."
Yeah, I love that one. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
There's nothing necessarily wrong with that if what you're doing works. It's kind of like Prince, like no one told Prince, like, hey, maybe you should not do that.
Yeah,
It's because he played all his own instruments and wrote all his own music.
It's really who I am, and it's like,
yeah.
And I've told you guys before, I have what some people would call I'm an experiencer.
Mm-hmm.
I've had strange things that you could say are happened to myself and my family. So I'm just kind of singing about those things too.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm making it up.
Healthy thing to do, like I think more people should be making music and singing about things.
And that's done on purpose because, I don't want to be just singing about being pissed off all the time or being a scumbag or whatever else. I've done all that. Now I'm in my 50s. And I have children and grandchildren, and I owe the world more than that now.
Mm-hmm.
Especially being clean and sober, and I just, it's funny. I'm clean and sober. I'm weirder than I've ever been.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, I think it's like, I hope a lot of people at this point in life are becoming more authentic and like not worrying as much about what other people think of you, or feeling pressure to conform and, wear a mask.
Because I was like, as freeing as punk rock was, it was also confining.
It is, yeah.
Because you had to be a certain way. You have to have a certain rep. And which I'm still an old punk, and it's my favorite kind of music, and I'm always going to play this kind of music probably, but I'm also going to be myself. And to me, that's more punk than anything.
I know. Yeah.
So I'm just talking about real shit. I'm not making anything up.
I'm literally just talking about I think the Slugfeeder, like in a way, like even though Son of Steak sounds more conventionally punk, I think stuff like Slugfeeder is more punk because you're pushing the envelope. You're doing something different. You're doing something what you want to do. And it's interesting. So
and that was really cool playing that stuff. And we also have one single out besides that album. But Glenn's in several bands in Colorado too, so I don't know that there'll ever be another Slugfeeder album. I hope there will be, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I agree with what Josh was just saying too. That's what I mean when I say like it reminds me of that early 80s, sound when it was not one sound. It was just like people who were pushing the envelope and trying different things, like the
everybody
Slips,
had a real particular sound back then.
Yeah, like people would hear it now. Like someone who has only heard punk in the past, I don't know, 10 years, if you played all that stuff for them, like they wouldn't think of any of it as punk, because it doesn't conform, but it is. And it's, more punk in that sense because people were, just breaking the mold. And so like you're breaking the mold, Yeah.
Go through SST's catalog. I mean, just like look at all the bands on there. You had Meat Puppets, you had Bad Brains, you had Sonic Youth, you had Dinosaur Jr.'s first album. You had Black Flag. I mean, it was, and none of those bands sound anything alike. and
Yep.
they were all
Yep.
punk bands. So
Yeah.
that was before it kind of settled into sameness for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Well, like a lot of the Fat Records bands have that sound. Like they all
The
just kind of
same,
have that.
same thing.
imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the AI punk or something. I can't get into it at all. I don't have I'm not wired for it, you know.
AI punk.
No, I'm just saying because they
Oh yeah.
they don't even sound like they're made by, real
Right.
people. It's like
But there is now. Having said that, there's one band on Fat Records that I really like, and they're called Nightbirds.
okay.
Yeah, they're very good.
Yeah, Nightbirds are really good.
I completely forgot they were on that label.
Yeah, and I think Western Addiction might have been on Fat also.
I think there's some
a couple
bands
I think there was a period of time, like not in the late '90s, but I think they kind of got the memo that like you can only have so many bands that sound just like NoFX.
Yeah,
and they tried to diversify their sound, and they actually got some really
I think that was
interesting
like
bands.
Early 2000s. They started kind of branching out, but it is what it is.
Well, let's see. I mean, Josh and I can talk, I'm sure longer than you can, because I know you at some point have to jump over to Bloody's Eric's show, right?
I like listening on Sundays to Church of Rock Radio.
Yeah.
Tracy,
yeah, and it's not my not my intention to like whatever over try to double.
And he's interviewing, I think, the drummer for Necros tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I heard the Casey Royer one, and then I guess I missed the one after that. For some reason, I was out or something. So yeah. But yeah, like, all right. So, in case you have to go in a few minutes, and you probably do, is there like one song off Son of Snake that you want to talk about and want us to play? And then I don't know, like maybe Josh and I will stay on a little longer, even after you, just to like maybe we'll each play one of our favorite Son of Snakes, and then like do the more in depth one another time.
Okay. So the Son of Snake, what list are you going off of? Like Spotify? Off that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I put like so for me, I put All Colors Sam in a like playlist of stuff I wanted to play. But if you have one that I don't know has a special story behind it that illuminates the album or would be a good hook for someone who hasn't heard any of it, whatever you want, really.
Okay, right on this album, I actually really like Verbal Cud.
I think that's one of my picks. Yeah, Josh picked that.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not that I didn't pick any others.
And I actually, that's probably my favorite one on this album. But All Color Sam, people seem to like that one. The answer is Woo. I mean, that's talking about.
I was really curious about that one. Like I kept reading over the lyrics, and I'm like, wondering what you're.
It's and a lot of my stuff is sort of for people to figure it out sometimes. Like look a little deeper, think about it, feel with your heart. And that the woo is what kind of people make fun of within sort of the UFO and Sasquatch arena. And it's like the supernatural aspect of things, what they call supernatural. But for me, it's not that. It's just natural. It's just part of science that hasn't been discovered yet or talked about. And it's sort of like quantum theory and all this.
It's tapping into something people feel is missing.
Yeah, it's sort of like, you can't, there's a spirituality side that people are missing with science. And, you have to kind of join the two.
Yeah.
Science never can give you a sense of purpose.
Every time I talk to Chris, I think of like, we should do an episode about that, we could do a really cool playlist. Someone named Johanna said hi to you. Johanna Lynn. Does that ring any bells, Chris?
That might be Lynn Campbell. It might be Lynn.
Johanna Lynn.
I think it's Lynn Campbell. Hello, Lynn. Okay. She's from Iceland.
Oh, okay. From Iceland?
Yeah, and she's an awesome songwriter. You should look her stuff up.
It's her. She said yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Look her. You would really dig her music.
All
Yeah,
right, cool.
it's got a real sort of etheric vibe to it. It's really cool.
I'll have to look into that.
Jotted it down.
What's
All
that?
right, so what are
I
we
just
deciding
jotted
to
it down.
play?
Oh.
Sorry, what?
I just jotted it down on my notebook where I
Okay.
Yeah, go listen to her stuff. She's awesome.
Yeah, no, I will. Maybe we'll have her on sometime. Okay. Yeah. So what do you think? What did you say a minute ago before you said the answer is woo, verbal cud, right? Do you want to do verbal cud or something else to play to
I think verbal cud's a great one to play. Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, let's play that one, and then you know.
You want me to actually like play it? I mean,
no, I can present it.
No, I don't know
yeah.
I don't know how to hook this all up.
I'll present it. You know,
Okay, cool.
Then you can relax a little. You can turn your camera off for a minute if you want to call off or something.
Okay.
All right, 1 sec. Now I got to find it though because it's not on my list. Sorry, guys, but 1 second. All right, here. There you go. All right, do you guys see it?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
I'll turn my mic off so you can't hear me coughing.
Strut your stuff. Project false toughness. Spread your thoughts, prove duty to the lactic acid. Sweat away today. Pushing towards personal nirvana. We await your next move. You are our idol god. We worship your every move. Anticipating, inciting rage. Negative waves, stagnant from change. Over our minds like ketchup and bags of hamburgers and fries. We await your next move. We await your cattle call. We can taste your future words. We love your verbal blood. To the blood, to the blood. We won't forget your number one stud. Collect your merch, every inch of metal. Our automobile will be plastered with memorabilia. We hang on to the past, so bad, so bad, so bad. We want it back so bad where it used to be. We await your whistle, the not so silent dog whistle. We're on standby, awaiting orders from the Bureau. The way it used to be the battle days. The way it used to be the fascist way. The way it used to be. Our idol God will take us back in time. We're on standby.
Okay. So yeah. I like that a lot too.
That's one of my snottier ones.
Yeah, I like the snotty stuff too.
It's sort of like, calling
a powerful
out
energy.
And, yeah.
It's empowering to hear. So Johanna said that you're lying about her being a great musician or something.
She always
lying. And then
her.
she said nice things about you. She said you're one of the most incredible indie artists in her opinion, and you're a breath of fresh air in the community. And I agreed with her.
Thank you. Yeah, go check her stuff out though. You'll really dig it.
Okay, yeah, will do. So gosh, well, I don't want to keep you, if you need to go and sort of transition over
Yeah, I want
to
to go
church
listen to
rock.
go
So
listen to
this is
the
kind of
Church of
just
Rock.
like a teaser for a more in-depth episode.
Yeah, just let me know, and hopefully, because we have some things coming up here, and hopefully that'll go all smooth, and then we could do a longer episode.
Yeah, that would be great. Like, if 2 shorter episodes is easier than a longer, we could do that.
Either way,
And like, I don't want to give it away, but the song that you made for the show, the cover, like, yeah, we have to do that, even if that was just a short episode. But like, we'll work with whatever you have available, because I know you're,
cool.
you have like an adult life going on with all kinds of things, lots of moving parts,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But I just want to like wish you and your family the best, and your mom
Thank
like
you.
good luck with all of her, stuff, and I hope
Thank
she's
you.
gonna get through it, heal well.
Yep.
She has a really like such a beautiful, positive spirit, so she deserves it.
Yep. I think it'll be good. It's been a challenge and adjustment for her and the family and everything, but it's just part of life. It's just part of life.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard when you're going through it, and sometimes when your health starts to go down, people of all ages start to, you feel like it's just down, it's just going down, like, right, there's never going to be like an upswing, but there can be. It's just that it doesn't ever feel like it at the time.
Yeah.
And and doctors never want to give you false hope. I think they all live in fear that someone somewhere is going to sue them for saying, don't worry, half the time people feel better in a year after this surgery than you're feeling right now. But like, they hardly ever say that. They're just so afraid of like, you'll be the one person that doesn't heal well or something, right? And they just don't want to go there. So they always like put this fear into you of all these things that could go wrong and complications, and it's so scary and stressful. So I'm glad she has you to walk her through it, because like, it's a lot.
On the new album, there's a song sort of pertaining to that whole subject.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, there you go. So we can talk about that more when that comes out. When did you say it's coming out?
The last one that just came out.
Okay.
Intimate Encounters with High Strangeness.
Mm-hmm. All right.
That one, it's I don't have any hard copies of that yet. I have to save up to pay for it, but it's already on Spotify, and some of the songs are on my YouTube page, and then also on Bandcamp. And that's the one that's got another creepy one. It's like my eyes in a head of like a praying mantis.
Oh, cool.
So it's pretty
I gotta look for that. And do you have any merch anywhere in case people want to support, buy some stuff?
Just the CDs, because you have to kind of buy that stuff. And
what's the best way for them to get it?
They could hit me up on Facebook or Instagram, Son of Snake or Chris Strong. And I could I'll just send them a CD, whatever. I don't have to pay for it.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of what I've been doing. I only have, let's see, I think I had 50 of each, and this is what I have left. So.
Oh, wow.
I've got like maybe 10, 12 left, maybe.
Oh, well, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you need to go, that's cool. I mean, Josh, can you stay for a few?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And I'll come back and watch the rest.
Wrap it up, and we can reconvene at another time and focus on the other songs on the album, and go a little more in depth with it. And the Slugfeeder stuff. So.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks for coming on. I'm glad it worked out.
Appreciate it.
It in. So have a great rest of your night. Have fun with all the church rock stuff, and we'll, hopefully see you soon.
And if you guys are listening, go check it out later. Church of Rock Radio every Sunday, 6 to 8.
Western time, Pacific time, right?
Pacific time.
9 o'clock East Coast time.
KSKQ Radio. Yeah.
Yep. KSKQ.org.
Yep. That's it.
Yep. Awesome.
All right. Thanks again.
All right, Chris.
Thanks again, Chris.
Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
All right. So that was fun. That went so fast.
Was that Yeah, that was over an hour.
I
Okay.
mean, I
Yeah.
started before just to like, just to make sure everything worked. And he was ready. Like he was like, he was probably ready before me. He was like, are you there yet? And I'm like, oh, I was gonna just test things at my own slow, weird pace. But no, it's good. It's good. He's so God, he's so incredible. I said to Joanna in the chat, he's a Renaissance man, like he just
Mhm.
does all these cool things. And I think about doing all these cool things, but like he makes it happen, right? He just is like, oh, I did another
Yeah.
album, 3 songs.
Yeah. There's a lot of overlap between like a lot of people who have go to graphic design school and they
Yeah.
also are into music
Yeah.
but
I was thinking that too. But I
I
was
just
trying
wish
not to talk too much. Sorry, go ahead.
but now you're learning how to play drums and all that and you're connecting to that aspect of all that, so that's cool.
Yeah.
So just trying to figure
My
out where to
drumstick.
oh nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a little behind with practicing because it was Shakemore weekend, so I didn't.
Yeah, my kids just came back from a trip to Montana and they brought a drum set back, so I'm looking forward to that. My
A drum
8
set?
and
Like,
10
how
year
did they
old
bring a drum set back from Montana?
they
I
took a
mean,
very large truck on the way
what?
back.
Really?
Long story short, my wife and my 2 younger children went out to Montana. They flew out there, dropped them off in New York, and they stayed out there for a few days, and then they just drove back with my father-in-law, who was already out there vacationing. They just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to accompany him on the way back, and right before they left, like my wife's uncle said, "Oh yeah, take this with you. It'd be great for the kids." And I mean, I'm sure there are some parents who are like, "Oh, good grief, a drum kit." Like, oh no, that's great. I'm looking forward to them making some noise.
Yeah. Oh
Just
my
kicking up a
gosh.
racket, and they're very they hit the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on the way back. I know there's a lot of punks, indie people who don't really like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame too much. But when I was out there, like about I don't know, a few months ago, actually it wasn't a few months, it was about a year ago. They had this awesome display of like Cleveland punk stuff. I might have
Uh-huh.
mentioned that in a previous show, but that redeemed every other aspect of it for me. There was like stuff about like the Pagans and the Dead Boys and like really obscure stuff like the Electric Eels. It's like wow,
Yeah.
that's I didn't expect to see that there, but that's
Was
neat.
it like a temporary exhibit or is it permanent?
No, it's well, I mean, it's located in Cleveland, so they had like
Yeah.
one little hallway dedicated to Cleveland's rock history. So
Yeah.
one whole wall was like, I mean, Cleveland is one of those unsung punk scenes. Like you always hear about
Mm-hmm.
New York or the Bay Area or Los Angeles, and to a lesser degree, you hear about Cleveland, but Cleveland, like just Ohio in general, was the genesis of so much cool stuff, like the Cramps and Devo and Dead Boys and
Yeah.
like stuff like the Rubber City Rebels. I mean, so much good stuff just came out of there.
We should
And
make an
later,
infographic, like
yeah,
showing
later the new Bomb Turk.
proportionally.
So, and there's just so much good shit out there that it's a crime how we don't hear about that in like the Time Life serialization of punk. So
Yeah. Well, we'll have to right that wrong. That'll be
we're
a
doing our
long.
part. We're
Yeah.
doing our part.
Yeah. It'll just have to be an ongoing mission because it's like I was thinking about, female punk bands and I'm just like I could stop listening to male punk bands today and I don't
You'd
I don't
have
think I could ever do justice to like all of the wonderful female punk bands out there. I'm not saying I, don't like all male punk bands. I do, obviously, but I feel kind of bad that it's so much harder for them to get the exposure. Like I seek it out and listen to it, but I know so many people don't, and then don't even think that they exist, and it's a whole It's like they need evangelists. Like I want to be a sort of, punk women band evangelist, I guess.
Yeah, I see you. You got to experience L7 in all their glory, and that,
Yeah.
that's some great shit. I don't care what anyone says. They're like male or female. They're one of the most hardworking rock bands on the planet. They're
They
awesome.
are. I'm so glad that they are back together after some, time off. And I would totally have paid to see them as many times as I could anywhere that I could possibly get to. It's just that they didn't have any other area shows. They went to, I think, Minneapolis like a month later, and then in late August they're going to be in Washington State. But then their other dates were Europe. There was nothing else I could get to. So, but yeah, I'm saying they were like incredible. Like, I mean, I had never seen them live, and yeah, it's if it's a good band, then it's going to be 1,000 times better live. And it was, like they just blew me away. I was like, I really need to see them, more. Like once wasn't enough. And yeah, and it went too fast. And like the more I like a band, I mean, this isn't always true, but in general, the more I'm like super, super, super into the music and the experience of being there live, the less I'm going to want to record anything. Like I hardly recorded anything of L7 because it was just like, I can't, I don't want to be like pulling away, I just want to be experiencing the music. I don't want to be like separating myself from it, which is how I always feel if I'm recording. So like I just have these short little sections, little partial videos, and then I was like, all right, that's enough of that. I just want to get back into the music. Yeah, it was a great show. And Lydia and Big Sexy Noise were amazing too. Like again, blew me away. I wasn't expecting them to be as like technically mind blowing as they were. Like really just it sounded like they had just been doing nothing but tour for years, which wasn't the case at all. So the first night I saw them 3 nights, like the final 3 nights of their tour basically. But the first night I saw them was a Saturday in Baltimore, and it was the first night that their guitar player was playing with them, like aside from just a practice or two. Like I don't know what, I didn't ask, but I don't know what happened to the previous guitar player, but something, so
Maybe
this
it's some
other
kind
guy.
of Spinal Tap kind of situation where they just lose their guitar players. Or
Yeah. Yeah.
That's horrible.
I guess I should look into that. I do not know. But Timo Ellis, who was in Chibo Matu, whatever band, you know what I'm talking about? Chibo Mato or something.
Chibo Mato, yeah.
Yeah,
They're great. I haven't been reminded of Chibo Mato in like probably like 5 years or so. But
yeah,
they're really
more
fun
like
band.
25 years or something, whenever it was that I last
We
heard
could
about.
play
But
them
anyway,
on our show if we get the chance.
yeah,
We
yeah,
have the licensing or permissions
right.
or whatnot.
Well, he currently has his own little kind of side project band called Netherlands, which I haven't heard yet because I only just, discovered it. But who knows? That might be another one that maybe he would allow us to play some of on the show. But yeah, if you get the chance to see Big Sexy Noise, I would definitely do it.
You never know until you ask. So
yeah. So gosh, we didn't get to play that many songs, just that one, right?
yeah.
We could end with something else.
Sure.
Maybe just keep it, maybe we should just save Slugfeeder since we ended up talking about Son of Snake a lot more. So
we want to end the show with one of the tracks that we didn't really get to discuss. Or I really liked Hostile Architecture a lot. Monster Bombs Erode. It's decent one. Or I Know What It Wasn't. They're all good. So
yeah. Well, I couldn't read the lyrics like with or without glasses, and I was just about to try to use my
They're
phone.
just yeah, he told me that they're on his Bandcamp page. So if
Oh
you
God.
yeah, I
Yeah.
actually my kid gave me this little magnifying glass and
Uh-huh.
that helped a little bit, but I still had to really hold it in place and just at the right angle, and I'm wearing reading glasses right now because I'm going blind. So
Yeah.
it was, but and then I found out I'm like, oh shit. I wish I would have, but that's still. I mean, it's cool that they included a lyric sheet. Let's just. All I'm saying is, hopefully, if there's any justice in the world, because Chris is a good guy and he makes good music and he's got the complete package right here. Hopefully, this will kindle enough of an interest in his stuff that eventually he gets a vinyl release and we get a proper lyric sheet and proper art, like album size artwork and all that. So that's my take on it. So that's it.
So I'm just replying to his friend in the chat because I think she's about to go.
Mm-hmm.
Which I might have already missed her, but let me just say thanks for stopping by, Johanna. Okay. So I just was telling her, like, we're still getting the hang of live streaming, right? And I said the previous 35 episodes are on Spotify. So, because she said she'll stop by another time.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. So I like the sound of Hostile Architecture. Like I said, I don't know what any of the songs are really saying. So
I kind of figured hostile architecture had something to do with like you always hear about like the park benches that are like constructed deliberately to deter like homeless people from sleeping on them, and
yeah.
it just seems like just excessively cruel and it just to the
Right.
point of like it's almost like the cruelty version of conspicuous consumption.
It is,
And
like in Baltimore, they I think they ripped out all the bus shelters, like the bus stop thing, like the things that protect you from the elements. So like in, the heat of summer, like I see these people waiting for buses, and I mean it's not like Baltimore has great public transportation. They could be waiting an hour and the sun is just beating down on them. They don't even have like a clear plastic, thing.
yeah,
Yeah. And yeah, then they put those like barriers, every 2 feet or something, like the supposed armrest, the things that you can never. Yeah. I was actually thinking of like brutalist architecture, like the 50s and the Stalinist period of architecture,
yeah,
the yeah, concrete, just gigantic, like massive, but yeah, no nonsense.
psychologically intimidating stuff.
Yep, intimidating, and then nothing bourgeois, nothing, no frills, like nothing cute uh or what is it, golden ratio type stuff. They weren't into that. So that's another possible take on it. And I really have to like sit down and, now that I know, thank you for telling me about Bandcamp because I'm gonna definitely check out the lyrics. Okay, so we could close with Hostile Architecture, I guess, and and then we'll hopefully like maybe in a week. I mean, if everything is okay on Chris's end with doing that, I'd love to do that, episode with his cover. And he's probably gonna help us make a video, for it. Or
Well,
he's gonna tell me how to do it.
I'll take it either way. That's
Yeah. So yeah, that'll give us a little more time, I guess, to create our playlist of, the Son of Snake Slugfeeder stuff. I mean, and if it could easily be 2 separate episodes. Like we feel like it's just too much to try to tackle both at once. Yeah. So yeah, and then after that, we just have to like start calling not calling me, you know what I mean, contacting bands and getting permission and all that good stuff. So yeah, so we'll see. But if we end up with a week that we haven't really had time to make those calls to different bands, I mean, we could do, all right, like trivia episodes where it's really easy to pull together trivia. I mean, like, stuff. I'm sure between the two of us, we know some trivia, like we could do something
Oh,
like that.
but
Or if that's too formulaic or something, like, I mean, we could even just do a live stream like Bloody does and just be like, hey, anyone who wants to come by and like talk to us and ask some questions, or maybe just have it be an all request night. And then we don't have to like plan, think, just show up. Cause yeah, I think there might be a little, there's gonna be like a fair amount of legwork to get this permission, and yeah, we might have to like have some other backup plans for like the weeks when we just got too busy and we didn't get the permission, but we still want to like record something.
all right. If anyone is tuning into this, if you have any feedback at all on how we should approach this, please let us know.
Yeah. And the guy who was on such a long time ago, like a year ago, I guess, Greg Slauson, who wrote a couple punk trivia books, like I'm sure he would come back on if we wanted him to. So, he has a massive amount of punk trivia.
Yeah, I saw him chime in on Facebook, and I think I responded to one of his questions, and it was an interesting question. It was not one I would have expected the average person to get. So it's cool.
Yeah, he said he had like one of his books is easier,
Casual things.
one's a lot harder. Yeah. So that was probably one of the harder ones. And you guys also communicated when I said on Facebook, "Oh, new MC5 album," and both of you were like, "What?" So yeah. But probably between the two of us, we could come up with trivia of our own too. I mean, that might be something to think about doing monthly anyway, like it's just, I don't know, we might need some alternatives to the whole band thing. So any other updates that you want to share before we go?
I got nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty bored. I just need to get out a little more. I have more to talk about. So I made a good dinner. I made some roasted cauliflower. It's delicious.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, that's important too. Those are the sort of unsung,
Yeah.
that need to get done that I don't do anymore and I should be doing. Yeah, you do need to get out more though. It's nice, and
it is. I need to see more shows. I need to saw the Church and Afghan Wigs a few months ago, and I see right before that I saw Billy Strings of all things. I haven't caught a lot of punk lately. I have the chance to go see Black Flag.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the month of August, but I'm not sure that I will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. I know they're in the area. Like I'm actually going to Vermont the first week of August, and I don't think I'll be able to catch Black Flag either before I go or after I get back. I mean, I think that the only time I could see them would be maybe like the night before I start back at my job, so it looks pretty unlikely. I guess we'll see. So yeah. Yeah, I think I've just got some local bands that are going to be popping up soon. Well, Sloppy Seconds is going to be in town in a week.
Nice. Don't miss them. Do not miss Sloppy Seconds. They're great.
I know. I haven't bought tickets yet because some friends who were in bands wanted to do a house party that same day, and the funny thing was I thought Sloppy Seconds was coming on Saturday, And so I said, well, the house party is going to have to be on Sunday then because, yeah, I want to see Sloppy Seconds. So I made everyone change their schedules to do it on Sunday. Then when I double checked on Autobar, Sloppy Seconds was also Sunday, not Saturday. And I'm like, oh my God. So I couldn't ask anyone to change it again. And now the whole thing has gotten postponed. So I possibly could go see Sloppy Seconds.
They're just fascinating to me because they're kind of like a missing link between like first wave punk and then the whole 90s scene. Like they were playing recognizable punk rock at a time when like nobody was.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like that time in like the late 80s where everything was like getting into hardcore, or they just stuck to like more Ramones sounding stuff at a time when that wasn't like as fashionable as it was in later years. So
yeah,
unless you're in like Southern California or something.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Where I was, that was not fashionable either. It was like your training wheels punk,
Well, no, what I'm saying though is that it went out of fashion for a while. People were moving on to like other styles, and like I guess like Rolling Stone and Spin were like saying punk is dead. And here was a band that was like not in Berkeley, California. It wasn't like out in the Gilman Street scene. They're like from Indiana, and they're still playing like Ramones sounding stuff in like 87 and 88. So that's kind of neat. It's just from like an anthropological perspective. So
no, I agree. I hear you. I totally agree. And I don't know that much about them really. I just kind of have picked out.
They're fun. They're a lot of fun. They have a good tongue-in-cheek sense of humor. I always thought they were great.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guarantee you'll enjoy seeing them if you happen to make it. Or where is it, like the Auto Bar or something?
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I might. I might. I don't know. Well, because I'm also doing the writing class with Nancy Burrill, and the final class is this coming Thursday. So, yeah. So there's a lot to do for that. There'll be a lot to do ongoing if I keep up with actually doing, writing the memoir. And I don't know. Just life. Yeah, I've just got a lot of odds and ends. I need to be studying for another praxis and taking another praxis and upgrading my licensure with the state. And I don't know. I don't even want to think about it. So somehow time is starting to move really fast for me, and I don't like it. I feel like, because we're almost in August. Ugh, I don't want to be in August. So anyway, well, all right. I will go ahead and, let you go, and we'll just be in touch back and forth about what we're going to do with, Chris for the next one with the cover song. So I'll go ahead and present that song for our final, and then, you don't have to, we won't come back on. This is just like our outro. This is our outro. So. All right. And I got to find it because it's not on the playlist yet. So, and let's see. We said Hostile Architecture, right?
That's what I'd go with. But there's plenty of others work just as well. Six half a dozen is the other. Yep.
All right. And present. All right. Well, it was nice talking to you. Thanks for helping me do this, the intro to Chris Strong type episode. And it'll be fun to follow up with him when we have a little bit more time and, can play more of his videos and all that good stuff. So, yep. So have fun, have a great rest of your weekend. What time is left, and enjoy that drum kit. I hope you get a chance to get on it as well.
Yeah. Well, it's for kids, so I might
It's literally
I'm
kid
like
size.
6'2", so yeah, might have to make some accommodations. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I bet you could. Where
I
there's a
think
will, there's a way.
sure. Just need a sense of rhythm to go with it, and I'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Alrighty. Well, see you
all
next time
right.
then, Josh.
Good night, Sasha.
Good night.
No place to sleep, no place to rest. Walking to a slow death. Passing by purpose, caught up in themselves. Too low. I wonder how we can solve this issue. We use textiles to create shelters. Housing for the poor. I don't think so. Eventually be parts. Places people wake up on a leave. In place, not even substance. Impossible to sleep on. Let's hang out at the cool department. I'm a trying to sleep, I'm a crooked bitch. If I'm not there, you'll find me at a cold cartridge table. My money's not in the park, find a better place to lay. Maybe instead of building a scrap, you can forecast dollars you're feeding and housing the poor. How's that sound? You set them up for this. The system's such shit.